The striped uniform is the iconic image of the Holocaust. This uniform was worn by George Grojnowski. He was issued it in Buchenwald, and as you can see on the left-hand side, it has his number, a number used to humiliate George. Rather than putting his surname Grojnowski, it dehumanized him and reduced him to the number. And next to it is a triangle. We know these triangles were used to denote which criminal class George belonged to. And I do criminal class in air quotes because he hadn't committed a crime. George's crime, according to the Third Reich, was being Jewish. We know, for example, that pink triangles denoted homosexual inmates, black triangles, asocials, green triangles, habitual criminals. Jewish people had yellow triangles, and political prisoners, red triangles. So if I was an excellent historian looking at this without knowing George or his story, I would tell you this belonged to a communist political prisoner, and I'd be wrong. George left Buchenwald on a death march when the Allied armies approached. He eventually made his way to Theresienstadt, a camp just outside of Prague, where he was soon liberated by the Soviet army. George speaks vividly about that moment of liberation. He talks about the bonfires and the Soviet army encouraging inmates to throw their uniforms and burn them, a symbol of their freedom. But George felt very strongly he could not burn his uniform. This was the only thing he had to evidence his life up until this point. But George does something quite incredible. He found somehow a little red crayon and he colours in what was once a yellow triangle red, paying homage to the Red Army, his liberators. And in doing so, he does something quite magical. He transforms this object from one associated with his persecution and his imprisonment to one associated with his liberation and freedom.